The first time I met Jeffersonville Mayor Mike Moore was actually, well, to meet his dog. We got an opportunity to meet Puddin way back when Extol was just a magazine, and my team and I absolutely fell in love not only with Puddin, but with the mayor's heart for dogs, and especially rescued pups. Well, recently he captivated the public's attention when he introduced two new furry family members. Mayor Moore, you now have two puppies, Rosie and Boomer, but let's back up because that video shows the pups on top of the conference table with all the people around it, and they went straight for...
They went straight to Sarah Green, who's our Jeffersonville Animal Shelter Director, and she's a perfect fit to take care of the animals of Clark County, but you could see you always say a dog's love doesn't lie, and the pups got on top of the table and scampered across and went straight to Sarah, and Boomer gave her a big old kiss, and you can't script that, but we've got a great animal shelter director, and these pups are that's where we got them from. So Puddin has taken a little time to get the adjustment to a couple little 11 or 12-week-old dogs sharing the house with her and now sharing City Hall with her, but they're all coming around. It's a little give and take.
Oh, well, I love that you have a heart for adopting and rescuing. I mean, you have, hands down, one of the best shelters around and one of the most amazing shelter directors. But why did you adopt Puddin, who's now 13 and, getting up there? Why did you adopt Puddin in the first place?
I'd been through a divorce the year before, and my kids, who are all grown, but at that time, back in 2013, they saw their dad coming to work every day, going home to an empty house. And I guess I looked a little depressed, I don't know, but they came to me and said, "Dad, we think you need a dog." So I just said, well, if I could find maybe a female dog that's housebroken and calm, I'd take a look. And the next week, a picture of Puddin came up on the internet as being available at the shelter, and took the kids over there, and Puddin was out getting her hair cut at the time, but she pulled in a couple of minutes later. I'm out in the parking lot, and Puddin just strolled right over to me and plopped down on the ground and looked up at me, and I said, yeah, she's coming with me. So
that was meant to be, but she is such a unique-looking dog. Any clue? What is she?
They say she's got some Border Collie in her and some Basset Hound. So she's got the short legs of the Basset, and you can see from time to time she likes to herd things, so the Border Collie in her comes out as well. So
she's well known. She's well known on social media. She's at all of your events. But what do you remember? I mean, it's one thing for the mayor to have a dog, but it's another for the mayor to have a dog who actually comes into the office every single day.
I'm not your suit and tie kind of guy, stiff. I've always grown up with a dog, and I'm in a better mood when dogs are around. And I think, I think it kind of lightens the atmosphere around City Hall having Puddin here. And it's having new pups come in here in the last couple of weeks. There's been a couple of times I've had to close some doors because they like to run around and get a little wild. Any important meetings I'm going to have, somebody's going to probably take them outside. But I really think it makes people more comfortable. I don't think these dogs intimidate anybody. They just want to come up to you and give you a big kiss. But I do think, the workplace environment is ever-changing, and if you can make your workplace environment a little more friendly, a little more carefree, I think it puts everybody in a good mood. And you could be in the worst mood of the week and come in here and spend a few minutes with Puddin, Rosie, or Boomer, and they're going to cheer you up. So they've certainly cheered me up. Teaching them You know, how to go to the bathroom and where to go to the bathroom is a bit of a challenge, but we're taking trips outside about every 60 minutes, and we'll get there.
And I mean, you're doing a great job of it. Is it just you? Is your staff helping you do this?
Amy and Christy out there have taken them out a few times as well when I can't. But, you know, it's a commitment. You know, I didn't take it lightly. I've got 3 dogs now, and if you're going to adopt a dog, you know, you need to expect to spend some time with them and teach them some things. And it's going to take some effort, and you're going to lose a little sleep in the middle of the night when they start whining. But it's well worth it, and I can't imagine life without them.
I'm going to only be a little bit nosy because you were so kind to welcome me and my team to your home a year ago.
Yeah.
Where do they sleep at night?
Puddin sleeps to the right of me, right next to the bed on the floor, and we are using a cage for the pups.
Okay.
And they're on my wife Jamie's side of the bed, and we put them in there at night. They sleep through the night, and about 6:30 every morning, you know, they want to let us know it's time to get up. But you know, using the crate has been a good teaching tool. They've never had an accident inside the crate. So when they go in there at 10 o'clock at night until 6:30 in the morning, they're fine. We put them out first thing. So, but they, you know, our house is full of of 4-legged friends.
Aww.
I've told my children for the last few years, when are you going to give me some grandbabies? And so when they saw I got 2 new pups, I told them I gave up one waiting for you. So, you know, there'll be 3 new stockings hanging on the side of the stair banister. And, you know, Puddin', Rosie, and Boomer are all looking forward to Santa Claus.
I have to say, I think there's something about you because you've got the calmest dog. I think many of us who are animal lovers, who've been around a lot of animals would say the same thing. You and Puddin', you have the calmest dog ever. And the fact that you just said 2 almost, 3-month-ish old
Getting
puppies
close to it, yeah.
have never had an accident in the kennel. Maybe after you hang up your hat and running a city, I mean, dog trainer?
Well, no, dog lover for sure.
Dog lover for life.
Yeah, you know, to me, the old saying, a dog's man's best friend, no doubt about it. And, you know, those years of being single without Puddin', I don't know, you know, I've said before, she was my therapy. And so I give them plenty of attention, but they give me plenty of attention too, so it works well.
How is Puddin' taking things? 2 pups.
Puddin's a little slow to it. It's funny because our neighbors next door to us, Nate and Lindsay, brought home a new pup about a year ago. His name's Flip. And the first couple of months he was around, Puddin' didn't want to have anything to do with him. And now every morning or afternoon when I get home, Puddin' goes straight over to the door and wants to go play with Flip. In the 3+ weeks I've had the pups, Puddin's coming around. She's still a little resistant. She's about 13 years old now, and she's a little set in her ways. But we get out in the neighbor's yard and run around a little bit when it's bathroom time, and Puddin' comes out there with us. And I'm usually out there running, and they're chasing me, and Puddin's right there barking away the whole time. So we all get our exercise, and Puddin', give Puddin' another month or so, and she'll be coming around.
She might put that herding to good use.
I think she will.
Sometime soon. How did you get their names, Boomer and Rosie?
Well, he is hell on wheels, and if you watch him you caught him at a time where they're a little sleepy, but if you were here 30 minutes sooner, you'd have seen them. They're going to wear a tread in the hardwood floor around here because they were running around going crazy. But Boomer will run and tackle Rosie. Boomer will run into a chair. Boomer just 50 miles an hour and he crashes into anything. But I watched that early on, and I just tagged him with that name, Boomer. And earlier, one of the employees was saying, you know, where's the boom? And I'm like, yeah, that's probably a good thing to say. But my wife named Rosie. and I don't think we really had the names picked out until we looked at them and played with them for a little bit. But Rosie's, they're both taking a nap right now, but Rosie's much calmer than Boomer is. But when they want to play, they're both going at it with each other.
They are siblings, but they both look so unique. I can't put a finger on it. What is that?
There was a lady that lives down here on the Walcott that do apartments on Court Avenue who had, it's my understanding, she had a dog called, it was a Japanese Chin, and I'd never heard of that breed. But she had stayed at an Airbnb one night, and apparently the house next door had a dog that was a Maltese. And apparently they got out at some point during the evening and hooked up, and you're looking at the after effects of what took place that night. But there was a litter of 3. Sarah Green, a few weeks ago, when I had an interest in looking at them, brought the 3 pups up here. And I was interested in adopting one of them. And my wife came over and we just watched them run around for about 10 minutes. And I decided on Rosie, and my wife went back to work, and Rosie and I walked her back to work and came back, and the other 2 were still here. And Rosie was a different dog when she was out there in the yard by herself, when it was just her out there with me. And I just thought, I can't take her away from her brother or her sister. So we came up here, and the pups were still inside, and everybody else, all the employees, were playing with the pups. But I started watching, and Boomer and Rosie were just really playing with each other. So I texted my wife, and I said, can we take 2? And she came back with no. And I'm like, oh, I was ready to cry, because I could see how well they played together. And I'm like, really? Because I really want to take another one. And I said, I really think it'll be easier to potty train them if we have 2 instead of 1. Because if we have 1, Puddin's not going to tolerate it. But if there's 2, they'll play together. And she relented. So we picked the boy dog and took him home. And then my parks director and his wife took the other pup. So it's my understanding they've named their dog Lily. And I've told him, my parks director, please bring Lily in someday. I'd love to have a play date with the 3 dogs here together. And so hopefully here in the next month or so, all 3 siblings will be back together playing a little bit.
I love how much of a softie you are. And I also love your wife for saying no and then relenting, because the fact is you are also someone who loves to at least get away. It's a very necessary thing. You're heading to Florida. Pups, that's easy to put them in a carrier.
We'll see. We'll see how easy it is.
I think you're going to be the most popular person on the plane, that's for sure. But what, you can't fly with Puddin', so how is she going to get to...
Well, my wife is driving her car down a day ahead of us, and she's taking Puddin'. So she'll make it a 2-day trip and take Puddin' with her, and then I'll fly with the pups. So my wife is the one making the bigger sacrifice there.
Like I said, she is absolutely amazing. Well, I appreciate you introducing us to the newest members of your furry family.
Well, you're welcome. I'm sorry you didn't catch them when they've had a cup of coffee in the morning and they've got that caffeine in them. But yeah, they've wore themselves out. They've been going around here quite a bit today, and I guess now it's nap time.